offshore wind, solar. Dominion Energy is a leader in the clean energy transition. We're dedicated to providing reliable, affordable, safe, and clean energy as we support and invest in our communities in 16 states. Dominion Energy is building a clean energy future. Actions speak louder. Welcome to Actions Speak Louder, a program about Dominion Energy's projects and community support. I'm Peggy Fox with Dominion Energy here in Northern Virginia. Today we are talking about the Northern Virginia Science Center. If you've not heard of it, you will. It's going to be a world-class interactive regional science center for people of all ages. It will be a place of discovery, innovation, and fun that invites guests to look at the world through the lens of science. So in studio with me is the Executive Director of the Northern Virginia Science Center Foundation, Nene Spivy. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Peggy.
This is so exciting. Tell us about why we are moving to this Northern Virginia Science Center. What is your vision?
Well, our vision is a long-held vision for a world-class interactive science center to serve a really large area here in Northern Virginia that didn't have any interactive science center or children's museum. And we are so excited to finally be bringing this to fruition.
Now, I've heard you say this before, that this is like one of the largest areas that doesn't have a science center. We don't know what we're missing, right?
We in many ways, we don't. And I've had the benefit of traveling around the country and even to other countries outside of the U.S. and just seen some amazing museums where kids and adults, really citizens of all ages, get to roll up their sleeves and really get to know science better and have fun and learn at the same time about really important topics in the field of science and technology.
What we have now that you're head of is the Children's Science Center in Fair Oaks Mall.
Yes.
Wonderful place. How long has it been there?
We have been open since 2015, and it was really we considered it a step along the way to get to this bigger science center. So it's a little too small for the amount of people that want to visit.
Well, tell us where the new place is going to be.
Yeah, so it's a really fantastic property. It's in the heart of the Dulles Technology Corridor, very fitting. And we are at the Concora development, which is on Route 28 North. And it's a mixed-use development that is under construction right now. And my favorite part is is the incredible natural resources there. There's enormous parklands and stream valley that we're going to have a lot of fun with science.
Awesome. Okay. Well, look, I want to show everybody a little bit about the grant. And Dominion Energy has been a longtime supporter of the Children's Science Center, and we were just thrilled to be able to support the Northern Virginia Science Center. And it's a $1 million sponsorship, and it's going to allow Dominion to be the first title partner and gallery sponsor for the new Northern Virginia Science Center, and we couldn't be more thrilled.
$1 million commitment as the first title partner and gallery sponsor for the Northern Virginia Science Center.
This is going to be sparking innovation in a whole new generation of learners that will one day be making the advances in all sorts of sustainable and renewable energy, which is a perfect sync with our company and where our company is going.
Authentic phenomenological art.
This $1 million gift is an extraordinary benefit to our efforts to build the Northern Virginia Science Center. Not only will it sponsor an amazing gallery called Flow, but it makes possible the opening of this incredible resource that's so much needed for Northern Virginia.
So this is a $75 million project, and I know you've been raising money. We've contributed. You've got Northwest Credit Union as the first big sponsor that came in. How hard is it to find that money and find that support?
Wow, it's quite hard to go from a grassroots effort to create a huge regional resource, and it's a good thing we didn't know how hard it was. I think. Right. But one of my favorite adages is that great things can be accomplished by people who are too naive to know they're impossible. Mm-hmm. And so we've been at it for over 15 years. Wow. And it's there's a lot of people that have really joined in. And so I think we're really probably at like thousands of people that have been making this possible, which is a wonderful thing.
Well, one of your biggest supporters is with us. Delegate Ken Plum joins us on Zoom now, and Ken, you've been with the Children's Science Center from the beginning, and you got this from the start. You knew the vision, right?
Well, Peggy, it was a natural. We in Northern Virginia have probably one of the best educated communities in our country. A lot of people who are associated with science and technology, and it was unusual that among growing suburban communities, we didn't have what was a fixture in many, and that being a science center. I was aware of the fact that Virginia had a science museum in Richmond, great place. And part of what has happened is we've evolved, is we've affiliated with the Virginia Science Museum, so that the fun of science can be brought right here to Northern Virginia in our own community.
So the Science Center is going to be in Dulles, and I know you represent Reston, which is in Fairfax County. How can this center really reach out and make sure people understand it's regional?
Well, that is the case. It is regional. And while all of us would like to have it next door, the fact of the matter is the site that's been proposed and is available in Loudoun County is a natural one. Nene's already mentioned the natural habitat in which it will be located, and that will be a major fixture of the museum. But also, too, let's face it, land's not readily available in Northern Virginia. It's very expensive. This was available, ideal, easy to get to in terms of transportation, so it's going to serve all of the region.
Right. It was donated land. I mean,
Yes.
that's key right there. So tell us,
Right.
Ken, what kind of ideas, how can they work to raise the rest of that money to reach that $75 million goal?
Well, I think the fact that we're so well underway now makes it not just an idea, but in fact something that in the not too distant future we'll see turning of dirt. Once that happens, then other corporate interests, I believe, as well as community organizations will see the reality of it and want to join in. Let's face it, when you will go to the Energy Lab and you see Dominion, and you're aware of how much Dominion is a solar producer of power, how the Dominion will soon have the largest wind farm in the country. There will be other groups who will want to join in and tout the advantages they have as a scientific community.
Yeah, we're excited about that. And we have the third largest solar portfolio in the country as well. So, you know, we're all about clean energy, and that's really why we wanted to be part of the Science Center. We know it's environmentally friendly, and that's another thing. We like to support the environment. When is the groundbreaking going to be?
Wow, we are really excited at the prospect of maybe this time next year,
Yay.
shovels hitting the dirt.
All right.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, Ken, you mentioned the Virginia Science Center, and this is a partnership, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're helping and they're partnering,
Absolutely.
but it's going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, well, each science museum or science center in any respective community is really designed to be reflective of that community and really align with the needs of that community, the aspirations of that community. And so it is going to be very unique. But we're so blessed to have this amazing partnership with the Commonwealth of Virginia and Loudoun County. And what comes with this, with the Commonwealth, is this, so many resources to help make this possible. The state is in charge of building the building. That's a big project.
Yeah.
They do a lot of those projects.
Yeah.
We don't do as many of those projects, so this works out well. We're driving a lot of the exhibit design,
Right.
and we're working side by side with Science Museum of Virginia museum designers as well as scientists that they have on staff. And so we really have a deep bench of really knowledgeable and creative people, in addition to the architects we've hired and the exhibit design firm that we've hired. So it's going to be pretty fantastic.
Well, and I'm sure the whole process is so different than, say, a business, which business has a goal, this is what they need. But the Science Museum, I mean, this is different than the Virginia Science Museum. And it also changed. It changed shape, and as things moved on, you got more people involved, and the vision kind of honed in. Tell us about some of the way it's changed and new things that have come in.
Yeah, well, I think that over the years, it was unclear as to how we were going to be able to build this facility and make it one that was the right size to support the population. And as we worked through that feasibility study process, it became crystal clear that we needed public partners. And it took us a good 4 or 5 years to really put together that public-private partnership and take advantage of that donated land that you mentioned. So when we brought these partners to the table, the partners had really great aspirations too, and they wanted to make that possible. So in many ways, it's gotten bigger and better since the earliest days, and as we envisioned, what might be possible.
So I know there's a big emphasis on environmental sustainability. Tell us about this at the new center, Nene.
Yeah, well, what's great about the Science Center and our plans for the design is the building itself will be a teaching building. The building will be exhibiting not just in the interactive activity, but in the actual way that the building is structured. We'll have solar panels, we'll have rainwater collection cisterns. We will be talking about heat islands with the entire facility. And so it's really a great opportunity to showcase environmental building in process.
And we were interested to hear about our gallery, the Dominion Energy Flow Gallery. You're going to have these interesting names and just whole themes. What exactly is Flow, and what kinds of things do you think we might see there?
Yeah, so Flow is such an exciting gallery. It's so inspiring that it actually inspired the architecture of the museum itself. So we have the exhibit designers inspiring the architects. And what everyone is so excited about Flow is that when you really think about it, almost everything flows. It's such a great way to think about science and the world around us. You know, water flows and air flows, light flows, energy flows, data flows, a lot of data flows in our area.
Yeah.
And so Flow is really celebrating the amazing phenomena that science and technology and math brings us. And so it's really larger than life. There are these grand exhibits, including a huge sort of fog wind vortex and flowing, of course. Everything's flowing. And then a huge flowing sculpture that visitors can change the wind direction and make it flow in different ways.
That sounds so cool. When you talk about interactive, those are the kind of things you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Like something you can see on a big scale in some cases.
And you can make things happen.
Yeah.
So visitors will go into the Flow gallery and they can compose music using real-time data that's flowing.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Wait. So how about some of the other galleries?
Yeah, so we have a total of 5 galleries. They're really expansive galleries. So right after Flow, you sort of leave this beautiful, artistic, grand, exciting STEM area, and you go into Helios, which is really, as the designers say, a mind-bending journey across our solar heliosphere, our solar system. And so very exciting experiential things happening in there as well. Of course, all about space and exploration and engineering and innovation. The next gallery, as visitors go down to the nature level, is the Habitat Gallery, and it's all about nature and that we're not apart from nature, we are a part of nature. And how do we coexist in natural environments with the animal life around us? How do we care for our big blue marble? And so it's a really wonderful opportunity to address some really important topics and help people fall in love with nature and therefore be motivated to be a part of the solution in protecting it. And then they walk into the Human Gallery, and it's all about what it means to be human and celebrating not only the sciences, the life sciences, but the diversity of human life.
That sounds so cool. I want to go now.
Well, and I did forget, we have, last but not, and certainly not least, for our youngest learners, we have a gallery called Wonder.
Oh, good.
And we take all the wonderful things about our Children's Science Center lab today, and we make them just that much more wonderful for young families.
Well, you mentioned the lab, and you have classes going on all the time.
Yes.
For children, school children during the day can take part, but also in the evenings, families come.
Families come on weekends.
And weekends. And so I want to make sure if you haven't been out there, you've got to get a little piece of it and I want to show you what it's like. So while you're fundraising and planning for the Northern Virginia Science Center, the Children's Science Center lab located at Fair Oaks Mall is keeping its commitment to the community, continuing to hold classes, and they've done a great job during the pandemic pivoting to virtual learning. Take a look.
Welcome to Power the City. In this exhibit, we will examine the different sources of energy and find a good way to light up the entire city. All right, now we are at the wind turbines, and we're going to try and create the most efficient wind turbine. Now, I want you to think, what makes a wind turbine efficient? Does it mean it moves fast, slow, it catches a lot of wind? Let's think. Noelle, what do our friends at home think?
Oh my goodness, we have a lot of people in the chat saying they want their wind turbine to move really fast.
Now let's engineer our own. You can see we have one set up here with 3 different kinds of blades. We have the red, green, and blue blade, and let's all vote at home as to which blade we think will be the most efficient or fast on the wind turbine. Last one. Now let's try it now. Before I try it, I want everyone to make a hypothesis or a guess as to whether this one will work or not. You can do thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, let's test it out. Power of the wind. And you can see It's starting to pick up speed as it goes, isn't it? Wow, great job. So we engineered the most efficient wind turbine to create the most energy. Thank you all for your help with that.
So this is X. He is one of our albino corn snakes. So he lives here at the Children's Science Center with his brother Agent. And he looks a little different than normal corn snakes. I said that word albino. And what that means is he has a special gene that makes it so color doesn't show up normally on his body. So a lot of corn snakes are more red and yellow. They are not usually this orangey color. But Agent and X are albino. So they are a different color and they have red eyes. Something else cool about their eyes is snakes never blink. So I would not get in a staring contest with a snake because you are gonna lose. They never blink their eyes because they actually have a special scale that's clear and it goes over their eyes.
So you can see their commitment to STEM education. They have those wonderful STEM educators working with kids, hands-on. You know, you can build a wind turbine, which we love because Dominion Energy is actually building offshore wind. And so we love any opportunity to teach people about wind energy. But also animals. You can learn so much from animals, and it's wonderful to learn about our environment. It's just, how do you find these wonderful educators, these young people who don't mind picking up snakes and, you know, they really connect with the kids?
Well, I think that people that are born educators really love teaching in an informal science setting and really having the latitude to do things that are really difficult to do in a classroom, for example. And so it's sort of a magnetic attraction
Right.
that happens. And we find some really wonderful people, it's true.
I think you're right. We talked earlier about the Kincora site and how wonderful that's going to be, mixed-use development, in which there's another museum there planned. Which I think is great because I think more museums, you know, the people can go to one and go see another, and you know, and it's right down. It's not far away from the Udvar Hazy Center.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes away, which is of course the part of the Air and Space Museum and the Smithsonian. So it's just really, it seems to be an area. You know, I'll bring Ken Plum in again, but really a place where we have not that we've been faltering. You know, we haven't had this museum in Northern Virginia. Do you see people who, you know, come to Washington, D.C. to see the Smithsonian? Do you see people like that coming out to the Northern Virginia Science Center, Ken?
Oh, absolutely. I'm hesitant to use words like classes and classrooms and laboratories because what it is, it's hands-on activities that really stimulate the interest in part of the children. Some people who come will learn things there, but they'll learn them from an interaction with the activities that are there. So it's been a void that we have not had more opportunities like this in Northern Virginia because there are an awful lot of kids who are very, very interested, and they are into robotics and a whole bunch of things in their school programs. And this is just another avenue to build on that interest. You won't take your notebook and sit down in a classroom. What you'll do is you'll take an interest, and with the good leadership that you have in the folks who work in the Science Center, you will stimulate that interest and build on it. And for some, it will be really life-changing because they'll actually discover things that they maybe didn't know about that they'll want to pursue as careers. The state's interest in this is the fact that it's an educational institution. The Science Museum in Richmond is an educational institution. This will be an educational institution, but understand it's hands-on, active interest, not classroom.
You know, you're a former teacher, an educator, so that is what inspires so many young people to do what they become and to give back to our world.
And exactly. And you know, all the things that we're talking about, what these galleries represent, a young person will not have had the experiences that they could know about those until they actually enter the space and get to know about it from being there and interact with it. So it's broadening experience for young people, and that's the best kind of education for young children.
Absolutely. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. And Nene Spivy, the Executive Director of the Northern Virginia Science Center Foundation. Next step is raising that money?
Well, certainly we need to get that done. We're at 91% of funds for this project, which is fantastic. But the last 10% is never easy.
Yeah.
And really what this funding support does is take what, leveraging the state and the county support, which is building that, that basic facility, and really taking it from good to great, making it world class. And so we absolutely need more community support to make it great.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and we'll be there every step of the way. I'm Peggy Fox. Thanks so much for watching Actions Speak Louder. We hope you join us next time to learn more about how Dominion Energy is working toward a sustainable future while supporting our customers and communities. Be safe.